Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Norm's Friends. I'm David B., also known as the Readings Guy. You can get a hold of me at bifid@yahoo.com. You can call, text 603-404-9338. Let's introduce my wonderful guest here, Anthony Williams, returning yet again for another enlightening, uplifting show. But before we let Anthony get going and introduce yourself, and then I want to come back. You know me, I have my famous quote for the day, a few anti-American issues I want to go over, and then we'll move ahead.
Yep. I'm Anthony Williams. I'm a retired commercial painter, and I do art around the city for the last 24, 25 years. And I come on, somebody's on the phone.
Wow, already. Good afternoon. Welcome to Norm's Friends. How are you today?
Hi, Dave.
Whoa.
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
She's wasted no time today. How are you?
Sure.
I'm doing wonderful. Where's your crystal ball?
Well, no crystal ball because we got an interesting show today we're going to talk about. Anthony's got some photos that he's going to show we're going to discuss. So no crystal ball. If he wasn't here, it's...
No ball. You left
Again.
them at home, your crystal ball. I wanted a reading from your crystal ball.
I know. When I don't have a guest, you'll get the reading from the crystal ball. And look, I would say my mind was a million miles away today when I left. I forgot my cards even. Look, it's a good thing I keep a small deck in my car, in the console. Imagine.
Well, you could do a reading anyhow.
All right. I will do a reading anyhow. We'll do the typical 3 cards. How was my reading last week? Did everything come to fruition? I'm sure it... Oh, no.
I'm still waiting.
Oh, no. Look, I dropped all my cards. Hold on. Anthony's helping me out here.
I got you that excited?
Imagine. That's because I don't use them that often because they're like a backup, like today, when I forget everything. So they're real slippery. Thank you,
Boy, there's
Anthony.
going to be many colors in that card today. You dropped them all.
You're not kidding, I know. Imagine if they always say, well, the cards that fall out of the deck you're supposed to read, but there was a good 15 or 20 of them, so we'd be
Well,
here.
that's too many to read.
Exactly.
You'll never get done. I'll take the whole show over.
You will. No, you'll take several. All right, 3 cards. Let's see. And this week you have to pay attention. All right, because I can feel it. You're gonna get some even before I start the reading. You're gonna get some really good news today. I'm not today. Within the next week. All right, let's... Oh, no. So first, maybe the good news, you will get good news, but first we start with the Tower. What's going on? My Ms. Optimist has some friction going on in her life for some reason. I don't know what it is, but there's some type of upheaval or some type of disturbance that's sort of, it's not mild. It's like you're really noticing it. So what it is I'm going to say I can't really pinpoint it, but I'm just feeling turmoil for some reason. A good amount of turmoil. However, being the optimist that you are, the next card we come to is the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords, look at her. She's nice and she's sort of like, nice and calm and observant, and she's absorbed everything that's around her. So she really knows what's going on. She knows what to leave behind and what to take with her moving forward. And of course, we know this as you are. She's in tune to her spirit. She listens to her gut feeling. She's, nourishes her soul. I can see that all with you. So maybe the good news is, of course, the last card we have here is the Six of Cups. So as you can see, it's little kids in it, right? And it's emotional. So I'm going to say that somebody, this is going to be either or. It's either going to be somebody that you haven't seen in, I'm going to say quite a while, is going to resurface, and it's going to be sort of like they never ever left, or it's just going to be somebody that's continuing, that hasn't left, you know, that also that you've known for a long time, and it's just going to be this sort of really one-on-one type connection. So there you have it. That's what the reading is. So maybe, and that's, remember, even before I did the cards, I said you'll get some good news. So probably that's what the good news is going to be. So there you have it, in a nutshell.
Well, thank you very much for the reading.
You're very welcome, and thanks for
Catch
calling.
you all later.
All right.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. Well, that was a quick start to the show, which is fine. All right, so before we get to Anthony, he'll describe what we're going to be talking about. First, of course, my famous quote. Let me do and I almost forgot. I just did this while I was waiting to come in here. Without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible. And if you notice, before I tell you who said this, without deviation from the norm. In other words, the woke people don't want anyone to wake up, right? Because they want everything to be what they want. So without deviation from the norm, progress is not possible. Another wonderful quote from Frank Zappa. All right, so you know me, I like to sort of bring to everyone's attention anti-American tactics, proceedings, agendas, all that stuff. All right, so let's just go down the list. The first one is, I'm sure everybody is happy that they're paying for this. Did you know that the illegals coming across the southern border are all given smartphones? Are you ready? So they can report to ICE. How pathetic is that? I mean, really, is this administration that moronic? Unbelievable. And by the way, did you see? Whoop. Good afternoon. Welcome to Norm's Friends. How are you today?
Good, thank you. I don't know if you know about this here, but the opioid crisis in New Hampshire, in Concord, Manchester, and Nashua, and so forth, are going up very, very sharply. There's been a lot of deaths. Did you know about that?
I just heard a little bit about that this morning on the news, about the increase in death.
Well, it's no surprise. The big guy in Washington letting all those people cross the border, bringing in drugs. Boy, it's the cartels' favorite. It's really a dream for them, you know, that the borders is open. I mean, instead of smuggling it, now they just bring it in.
Right.
So anyway, I just want you to know that it's like they say in Hollywood, you ain't seen nothing yet.
That's
With all
right.
those drugs coming in, it's going to get much worse. Thanks to Mr. Big up there. I want to thank you very much and enjoy your show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for calling. And I heard that this morning, a big uptick in deaths in New Hampshire with, and he's right, the smugglers, they can't believe their luck with the open border. They don't have to smuggle anymore. They just walk it in. All right, so, like I said, the illegals, we're giving it to them. Aren't we wonderful? We're giving all the illegal border crossers smartphones so they can report to ICE. Unbelievable. Here's another one. Are you ready? This is, well, if you listen to the lying administration, it's Putin's fault. Airfare prices are up 40% just since January. 40% since January. And by the way, in case you say it's from Fox, I know everybody, he's a Republican, which I'm not. That's a fabrication. All right, what is it? That's fake news. All right? I'm not a Republican. I'm pro-American. Airfare prices up 40% since January. ABC News. All right, just so you'll know. Oh, plus, I want to say special hi to my good friend Sandy in Lexington. I went down to the Lexington Elks last week, and she says she watches every week online. So, Sandy, there you are. By the way, if anybody wants a reading or a comment, 603-640-3091. All right, and here's more proof that they're lying, that Biden is outright lying to you about the border. It'll make sense in a minute. This is different. The appeals court at I think it's the Fifth Circuit rules in favor of Biden's vax mandate for federal workers because what do they say? He's the boss. So more proof he's lying to you about the border. If he wanted to sew up the border and make it less porous, he could, because why? He's the boss. So he's lying to you. Then the other thing I would like to, I only have two more issues, and then I'll turn it over to Anthony. Very interesting subject today. The subway shooter yesterday in Brooklyn, in New York City. You know, he was posting Nation of Islam founder, Messenger of Allah images on social media. But did any news organizations have the nerve or the strength or the boldness to inform the people about that? No. Why? Because they're Islamophobic. Again, let's get this straight. A phobia is a fear. I have no qualms about telling the truth, whether people want to hear it or not, whether people think you can talk about it because it's Islam. I know you say, oh, you can't say anything about them. I'm not under Sharia law. They are. I'm not Islamophobic. I don't fear Islam/Muslims. They do. So they didn't report on that. And the only other thing I'd like to point out is I think a lot of people saw or heard about Senator Hassan being at the southern border. Was it yesterday or the day before? And what is she saying? Here she is at the southern border talking about, well, you know, they need more resources and they need this and we need more money here to, fund more officers down there. But this is another one that's outright lying to you. These politicians, they're like heroin addicts. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear, but use your God-given free will and don't be afraid to say, think pro-American. Never mind Democrat, never mind Republican. Think pro-American. She's telling you all this stuff, and she even said they need a physical barrier in places. The Democrats control the Congress. They control the Senate. They control the White House, all three branches of government. They don't need to wait for after the election to do any of this. It could have been done since last January. It's not. Instead of closing the border, they're opening it. I mean, get your head out of the seat. Whoops. Good afternoon. Welcome to Norm's Friends. How are you today?
Not too bad, and you?
Mary, how have you been?
Pretty good.
You sounded...
Could be better.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, you don't sound the chipper Mary. What's happening?
Yeah, a lot of things going on right now.
Well...
Yeah.
I'm not into astrology, Mary, but they say
No.
but they say the moon or the sun is going from one sign into another sign. So, and this is the upheaval that we're all feeling.
Yeah, we need the sun. We need some heat up there.
Well, it's warm now, but no sun. It's warm out today. Have you been out today, Mary? It's beautiful.
Yeah, I did. I had to go out and get some medicine. It's about 64 out right now.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's nice, but it still needs to get warmer.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
How's your show going, Mary?
It's doing good. It's doing good and everything. We're going to do a special this Thursday on Easter.
Good for you.
And and everything. So, hey, give me a reading and see what we can pick up.
All right. I'll do 3 cards, Mary, and let's see what's going on. I'll let Anthony pick the 3 cards. How's that?
Okay.
We'll get him involved because he is in tune. He doesn't realize it. Maybe he does, and he's just not admitting it. So we'll let Anthony pick the 3 cards. Okay. 1. Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, no. Mary. First, we start with the 10 of Swords. All right. Look at it. You're in a dark spot right now. You got a big, heavy burden going on. Something weighing really heavy on you. I don't have a clue what it is. However, it's sort of like, how do I say it? You gotta drop the fear. And what is fear is fiction. Wait a minute. Oh God, I forget the acronym for fear.
Fright.
No, right. Fictional evidence appearing as real. That's what it is. So forget about it. It's not as heavy as you think it is. And because, when you can get over that, take a step back and realize that. All right? And plus, the other thing is, it's the worst now. It's going to get better very, very soon. You know the saying, the darkest hour is just before dawn, and you'll have a new day dawning very shortly. And then we go to the Empress. Look at this. She's sitting down. She's thinking everything over. She's taking in everything, and she's observing about what's going on. She's looking around, and she's looking at all the positive things in her life and all the positive energy that's around her. And it snowballs that way. When when there's a little crossroads, do I stay overburdened or no? Because it's really not a bigger burden as we think it is when we look on the bright side of the road. All right. So, but the only thing, this is Mary. I'm getting the sense that this is somebody in your close circle that sort of. They're not leveling with you. I think that's what's causing anxiety or something. I'm getting the sense that that's causing anxiety, but they're just not leveling with you. I don't know. That's what I'm feeling. They're sort of skirting around.
Yeah,
I'm getting the sense.
I got an idea what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that you're sort of broaching a subject or whatever it is, but yet they're skirting around, and what it is that they're doing. I'm gonna say that's what's adding to the burden on you. But like I said, as we always say, count your blessings, because there are a lot of them, Mary.
That's right.
That's
right. That's why I always say I believe in my angels.
That's right. Yeah, and how? See? Good for you. God bless you. That's right. And I certainly do, because they're around. But,
Yes, they sure are. A couple of years ago when I went into New Bedford, I'm going to have to make a picture of that. And I took this picture because I liked one part of the wall, this part that went on. It went on I think it was every hour on the hour that went up. So I tried to catch it. And that hour that came on, I caught it. I had my iPad with me. I caught it on there. But Danny and Celia tried to pick it up with their phones. They could not pick up this image, what I picked up.
Huh, wow.
It looked like an angel with a horn. I picked it up with my phone. But no one else could see it but me.
Wow.
I'm the only one could see it that day.
See that? Now, the angel with the horn, is that Michael? I'm not sure of all the angels. Who's the angel with the horn? Anthony, do you know?
Michael.
Yeah, it is. See, Michael.
Yeah,
so,
and it looks like a horn. And someday I'm going to have to take a picture of that and all that and show it. And today, Danny says, I took a picture, Celia took a picture, and there was another friend that tried to take the same picture at where I took mine.
Mm-hmm.
They saw nothing.
Wow.
on there. But I did. I caught it.
So that's because the message was meant for you, Mary.
It was for me.
That's
Yeah.
right. Wow.
Yeah.
I love stories like that. That's neat.
Yeah. That's why I always did believe in angels.
Yeah. And me.
Always did.
Excellent, excellent. Mary, who's your guest tomorrow? Do you have one, or is it a surprise?
I'm not sure. That's why I'm not saying right now. If they show up, they show up.
Ah.
Right now. So I don't like to say, oh, they're coming in and they don't show up.
Right.
But
I know what
and
that's
they get
like.
you, then you get, the people get, and then you get disappointed. But now, like I said, now it's if they call me up before the show and say I'm coming in, then I will put it out on Facebook.
All right. Very good, Mary. Very good. So, well, I don't live in town, but maybe if you're going to have a Easter special tomorrow, I'll go see if I can go online and get it by going to manchestertv.org.
Sure.
Tomorrow, Cruising with Mary. Same time, 5 to 6 p.m.
Yep. If you like to come on, because we're going to have an Easter show tomorrow.
I just might, Mary, because you know me, I'm all on board for that stuff. I think we could use more.
You're welcome. I know Anthony's coming.
Oh.
Well, you and I are so.
You're welcome. And I'm not sure about Mary.
Yeah.
I hope she's feeling better.
Yeah.
Ah.
I don't know. Like I told him, make sure she feels better before she comes on, and and everything. She had a proceeding last week because she was so sick.
Oh, it's not COVID, is it?
No.
Oh.
No.
heart.
It has nothing to do with
Well,
that.
I always say that when I hear somebody sick or not feeling well.
Yeah,
I know it's
no,
nasty,
it has nothing
but
to do with that.
I say
Well,
it
if
as
not,
a joke.
Mary, you and I can tap dance.
Do you?
That's right.
The table's big enough and there's
Get up on
enough
the desk
room.
We'll try something.
Right.
Boogie.
That's right.
Okay.
We'll invite the Fonz. He can come by and we'll have a good time.
No.
All right.
Stuff.
Yeah.
All righty. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
We'll
Take
see you
care.
tomorrow.
See you
All
tomorrow.
right. Thanks. Bye, Mary.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so
Uh-oh.
I don't know how I must have hit it. Anyway, so I'm done with my I'm done with my list. So just stop listening to all the lies coming out of Washington. Now, finally, take it away, Anthony.
Well, 20-some years ago, I was working in Boston, and I got a message from the guy that I was working for down there that I could come in an hour later, come to find out, because he would wait till I get down there to tell me that I had to work 2 hours more at the end of the shift, which worked out okay. So anyway, I had the TV on, and there was this preacher on, and I didn't think much about it. I'm sitting there drinking another cup of coffee, and he said these words, and it changed my life to the extent where for years after I started to research. He said these words: the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair, and they came down and they mated with these women, and they produced Nephilim, giants. So I sat there, I go, what? What's this all about? So I sat down and I listened. Next morning I got up, turned the TV on, and I kept listening. Finally, I said, you know what, I'm going to research this because I've never heard about giants in the Bible. So I opened up the Bible, and chapter 6, verse 1 through 6 said exactly what this preacher was talking about. So I began to, what's going on here? And then I remembered, okay, as a child, I remember hearing about Goliath, and he was a giant. And so I couldn't help myself. I said, you know what? I'm going to find out as much as I can about these so-called giants. Sometimes they're called the Nephilim. And if you read through the Bible, which I started to do in the Old Testament, you'll find out that there were giants, and they lived all over what we now know as Southeast Asia, parts of all through Israel, Turkey, and evidently the United States, because the more I studied and researched, I found out they were finding giant bones all over this country. Not only here, but in Europe, Russia, everywhere. So I said to myself, wow. So I reread chapter 6, verse 1 through 6 again, and then I found out that not only at the beginning of the book of Genesis, but all through the book of Genesis, plus some other prophets and writers of the Bible, they discussed the giants, even had names for the giants. So this book was called the Book of Enoch, and this book was taken out by the Catholic Church at the Laodicean Council. And I said to myself, now why and how? It was a mystery. When you think of human, you don't think of giants only in cartoons and fictional this and that. But I got the Book of Enoch, and I had it about 10 years ago, and I read some of it, and for some reason I didn't finish it. This time around I'm going to finish it. But it says, often described as a lost book of the Bible, the Book of Enoch seems to have been written in Palestine by several different authors in the 1st and 2nd centuries before Christ. For hundreds of years it was accepted by early church fathers, but it was rejected by the Council of Laodicea in AD 364. Today it remains a written remnant of the Apocalypse, an ardent testament to hope and the triumph of good over evil and the dawning of a world to come. So you start reading this book. I don't know why they took it out of the Bible, because it sure explains what the National Geographic found, what the Smithsonian Institute found, and archaeologists from all around the world actually found these giants. And I've got some photographs. It's really amazing. And they're all well documented. The only thing that I don't like about it is that the Smithsonian sold the giant bones to, they say, wealthy elites in Europe decades ago. And the Catholic Church used to have some bones of giants, and for some reason only heads of state are allowed to see them. Don't know why they would want to cover this up. So Stephen Quayle was not only a writer, but he was part archaeologist. So he decided, I'm going to find out the truth. So he traveled and he went to the Middle East. And what he found, and the photographs from the National Geographic, even though they're the ones that took the photographs, it makes you wonder why they want to hide this from us, regular folk, I call us. But to me, this is, it's still a mystery to the extent of why these fallen angels mated with earth women. And people say, oh no, where'd you get that? Well, even though they took the book of Enoch out of the Bible and their prophets still talk about the giants. They lived with mankind up to a certain point in time in history. Then they turned on man and they began to eat men alive. I followed it all the way to America, where they found these bones. I even got it to be documented from police reports, archaeologist reports of these bones that they found through Ohio. They have found bones in almost every state in this country. So it made me wonder, who was in America before the Americans? You know what I mean? Who came over, and somehow the American Indian had all kinds of what people now are beginning to realize may have been true, not just a myth, not just a fairy tale, where Indians, American Indians, the early ones, used to write and talk about giants that were so big that they could come up, grab a buffalo, put it in their two hands, and take a bite out of it and eat it.
Wow.
And you said, at first you say, okay, am I getting into something here that I shouldn't get into? Is it just a waste of my time? And then the further I read, it opened up my eyes to a lot of things. There's one giant that remains in public view, and it's in London. And a lot of people have been trying to buy it. And some people have protested saying that they should keep it from the public's eye. And their reason for doing so is a little strange.
What's that?
Some people say, these groups, well, we don't want people to go into hysteria, and we don't want people to, let their imagination run away with them. And all these round the circle reasons for keeping the truth from people. So I got some photographs of these giants that are well documented. Like I said, they were National Geographic and other independent researchers, and especially a man named Stephen Quayle, who comes right out, and he put this book out called The Giants. And you look at, these are taken, I think, in the late 20th century. And look at the size of these giants. And they were from the Middle East. And these people, they say, were 12 to 13 feet tall. So I dug further, and I want people to see the size of a skull. And here's an archaeologist from Smithsonian. And he gave permission, since his team took these, and said that Smithsonian didn't want me to show these, but since I own the copyright, I'm going to put them on. And they've all been documented. This is a close-up, the same photograph. Now, this is really fantastic stuff. And people say that these giants didn't exist, and they kept trying to hold it back. Here's some they found just outside of Turkey. Wow. And you can see the size of these skeletons. It's unreal. Here's another one, and when they finally got it out. And these are all well documented. There's no doubt that they exist. It's just they don't want you to see them now. Except in, like I said, London. They're going to keep that out. The people that own the building say, no, we want people to see this, and we're not going to hide the truth from them. So that kept me.
That'd be worth the trip, just to see that.
Sure. I mean, you've got all kinds of archaeologists that are famous. So what I did was I researched a lot of these people to make sure that what I'm getting is true. And it is documented. And here's the quote from the Bible. In Genesis 6-4, there were Nephilim, giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God, the fallen ones, came down unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, the same became mighty men, which of old, men of renown. And it goes on and gives a whole list, Toledo, Ohio. 20 skeletons were discovered with jaws and teeth twice as large as those of present-day people. And Lovelock, California, discovered a very tall, red-haired mummy in 1911. This mummy eventually went into a fraternal lodge where it was used for initiation purposes. 1931, skeletons from 8.5 to 10 feet long were found in Humboldt Lake bed in California. In 1932, Ellis Wright found human tracks in the gypsum rock at White Sands, New Mexico. His discovery was later backed up by Fred Arthur, supervisor of the Lincoln National Park, and others who reported that each footprint was 22 inches long and from 8 to 10 inches wide. They were certain these prints were human in origin due to the outline of the perfect prints coupled with a readily apparent instep. And then here's a good one. During World War II, author Ivan T. Sanderson tells of how his crew was bulldozing through sedimentary rock when it stumbled upon what appeared to be a graveyard. In it were crania that measured 22 to 24 inches from the base to the crown, nearly 3 times as large as an adult human skull. Had the creatures to whom these skulls belonged been properly proportioned, they would undoubtedly have been at least 12 feet or taller. And it goes on almost every state. And then they went back to the American Indians. Until this day, it's still in their teachings of what was going on in the earth in those days. And then in the Bible there was this king. His name was King Og. When he was buried, his coffin, and it gives the measurements right there in the Bible, 12 feet long, 5 feet wide. Can you imagine a man that big and a coffin that big?
That's big.
And now you go into the year 2021, they are now, and we're still not able to get totally to the bottom of the ocean because it would just take a submarine and crush it like a tin can. But they go as deep as they can. They're already discovering bones of men that were 15 feet tall.
Wow, on the ocean floor, wherever they're going?
Right.
Wow.
I mean, it's, to me, this is fascinating. They were called the Nephilim. I don't know why the Catholic Church decided it was a mystery. When asked about it later, where's the bones? They used to go public. They had no real excuse for it. But you'll find these in the Bible. It gives their names. And there were more than one species. Some were 12 feet. Some they found were 18 feet tall. So you wonder how old this earth is. I believe man has only been on it going on 6,000 years. But obviously this earth is a lot older. So at the beginning of the Bible it says the earth was void, or the earth became void. It's been opened up that way. So it leaves you to think. It also says there were 3 heaven and earth ages, and we are in the second heaven and earth age, heading for the third. So you wonder what's been on this earth and why some people want to buy everything up so that we're not allowed to see it anymore is what really bothers me. Why can't we get the truth on a lot of things? It's not only because this must be wrapped up in some kind of secret society thing where they just don't feel that we deserve to know the truth. But this Stephen Quayle, he brought it out into the public and proving everything that he brought out. It's just like everything I had here was documented. I made sure that it was documented because I just didn't want to swallow another, quote, fairy tale. So when I come up with this, and then the archaeology departments and the people that manage the forest and the mountains in all the states, they have formed their own little group of people, and they do still tell you the truth. They want you to know exactly what happened and why it happened. So I'm sitting here thinking, why would somebody want to hide the fact that there were giants on the earth? And I mean, it's right there in the Bible. I've got the Catholic Bible, I've got the New English Version, and it all says the same thing. But to deny it and say that, oh, this is a fairy tale, that's what got me up. And then when I got these photographs, and I started reading more about Stephen Quayle, and he's still doing it today because they're trying to push him off the internet. Little by little, they want him off the internet. Because why? He is exposing a lot of this. I just can't figure out why they would want to keep it from the public. Why?
Well, probably what I'm thinking of, Anthony, is, they keep it from the public because I think if the public was aware, good minds working together, they'd make all these different links and sort of, I think there'd be a big sort of type discovery about humankind and, where we'll say they came from, and because of that, being intertwined with regular humans when they were in the women and bore children. I think that's what maybe they don't want. They think people will let their minds run away with them, or
it's funny how
go hysterical.
Some people they're called the world elite, where some people just think they're better than everybody else, and that they're a higher level of creation than everybody else. But one thing it makes clear in the Bible, among other things, is the fact that when the flood came, that was supposed to destroy mankind, most of mankind. But it also says in the Bible that after the flood, some of these giants survived, and some people did survive. So it didn't kill every single living thing on the planet, because right in the Bible it says, also when the flood came, and also after the flood. So these things have been with us, and to think that these fallen ones came to the earth and mated with earth women, it's almost as if they wanted to destroy mankind, because the fallen ones were the ones that went against God. They said, no, I have a free will, I'm going to do what I want. And the thing about this book of Enoch that I have is that it gives you the name of the angels. And I don't really want to, there's some things in here that maybe at another show we could continue with. The more I read in this book, because it's fascinating, but there's also some things that these fallen ones, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, had taught men and women. They taught them things that I don't want to go into right now, but it's something that you have to realize, that we had an influence and that there's somebody out there. A lot of people call him Satan.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask, Aunt. That's what fallen angels are, aren't they? Satan.
They are, according to the Bible, 1/3 of the angels rebelled. And they said, we have a free will. And Satan was the first, and 1/3 of the angels followed him. In the book of Enoch, they call them the Watchers. And the Watchers came and they polluted man. They taught him all kinds of things that they shouldn't have learned. Bestiality, obviously having sex with animals. That's in the Bible. It's also in the book of Enoch. and the pyramids, who really built the pyramids. I just got done reading several takes on this by some rabbis, and the rabbis say anybody that believes that the Jewish slaves built the pyramids are way off their rocker. Why, he said? Because how many men would it take to lift stones made out of limestone 60 feet long and weigh up to 60 tons? First of all, man did not have the mathematics. Man did not have the machinery, and there weren't enough slaves in the world at that time to move chunks of limestone. And this is something else that's very interesting. The pyramids were covered in limestone, and limestone is nowhere near where those pyramids were built. Nowhere in that part of Egypt. So they therefore had to be what?
Imported?
Yeah, or maybe they put them together by just having them float in the air and go into place, because they are so mathematically inched together. Still to this day, they say you can take a razor blade and go straight down. Man did not have the capability to do that. So who built these pyramids? That's something that I have my own ideas, and if we have more time and maybe we can get into it again, I'd like to discuss that part.
Well, that stuff interests me, and it amazes me, because it is like the pyramids. But I always think, they say they didn't, like you're saying, they didn't have the mathematics, or they didn't have this, and they didn't have these tools. But what I always think is, well, how do you know we didn't have these tools? They could have just,
I believe,
got eaten away in the earth.
No. There's way too much mathematics in this. I believe, from what I have studied and researched, that it was the fallen angels that engineered this, because they taught practices that man hadn't any idea of what they were talking about. I do not believe that any human being, this is my opinion from what I have read and researched, had anything to do with the pyramids. I believe that when the people finally came to Egypt, those pyramids were already there. And plus the fact that there's pyramids in South America and there's pyramids in Mexico.
Those are unbelievable. I went there.
And
they're amazing.
Who built these? The Mexican government. They have no record of any of the Mexicans building those pyramids.
You should see this one, Pyramid of the Sun, Pyramid La Sol, or whatever. You should see the size of this thing. It's
incredible.
It's gonna be like it's like this, and there's stairs. It's like that, and there's like a temple way up the top. It's got to be 20 floors high.
It's incredible.
And the steps are like this.
Right. So I'm fully convinced man did not build these pyramids. Think of it, a stone. Not one, but hundreds and thousands of them, some of them up to 60 feet long and weighing up to 60 tons, and being placed together so perfectly, mathematically, geologically, everying, just right.
So when do you think they were built? And because then I have a question.
I believe, do I have a time period?
Yeah.
Like I said, we don't know how old this Earth is. It could be millions of years old.
I think it is.
We don't, but man hasn't been on it that long. And the fact that these were made from limestone, and limestone doesn't exist in Egypt, nowhere. So where did this limestone come from? Who put these together so mathematically exact, and then covered the whole thing and it was. They say when they were first built that everything was smooth. The whole thing was just like they had built it, then they had smoothed it out. And these pyramids are in line with certain stars and the constellations and this and that. So
That's the pyramids
Yeah.
in Mexico are like that.
yeah, so
The way they're set up, it's the seasons and the zodiac
Right.
signs and this and all different things there.
so you wonder, when the Egyptians got there, the Egyptians had a hard time because most of their kings or people that they considered to be their gods, a lot of them were victims of being inbred. In other words, sons and their mothers, brothers and sisters, husbands, father and daughters. And a lot of these people became the ruling class. And that took a long time for people to figure it out. But they finally, archaeologists, kind of put this together. But I don't believe the Egyptians built the pyramids, and I don't believe that the Jews, according to what I've been reading from this rabbi who's gone way back, and I mean, he can back up every single bit of history. And he says, no, the Jews were slaves, there's no doubt, but they did not build the pyramid, and they did not have the capability, nobody did, no human did, to build those pyramids.
So why do you think that like King Tut is in one of them?
Well,
then?
they
Do you have any
became,
take on that?
I think that what they did was when they came, these pyramids, and obviously these pyramids were, when the flood came all over the whole earth, that it caused damage to these pyramids. It took most of the sandstone away. If we look at the mountains in Montana and Texas, all these places, look and see where the water and erosion has been. So whatever this flood, that 40 days and 40 nights of rain, this water went through erosion, and that's why we still have it today. But look at those mountains, and you can just tell it's just where the water. And then the archaeologists that discovered these pyramids and the damage that the waters had done. So, like I said, I believe the earth, God only knows how old it is, but man hasn't been on it that long. I don't believe that man could have even been on the planet when a lot of these giants were around, if the giants built them. Who exactly built them? Some archaeologists say it was obviously the giants. Some giants were fairly peaceful, while others, and if you get into the book of Enoch, eventually they turned on man and literally started to eat them. Literally pick them up and eat them. So you say to yourself, where was the earth at that time? What was it, the first heaven and earth age? I mean, the Garden of Eden even describes the rivers that are coming out of it. It's obvious that there was a garden. But it was, to me, it could have been that Adam and Eve were in spiritual bodies, but because they had sinned, they were put back into physical bodies. There's just so much that we need to learn, and this is why I'm so glad I've got this book of Enoch.
I'm going to get it. It sounds very interesting.
I mean, it backs up a lot of things and it answers a lot of questions, because when I first heard that preacher, I was almost ready to turn him off, saying, this is another fairy tale, because I just had no knowledge of the Bible like that. And since then, I've increased my knowledge, but archaeology has a lot to do with it. These pyramids, where did they come from? Where did this limestone come from? Even people that have been studying it for decades say limestone wasn't even around then. How did they transport it? Were these beings that built this, were they the fallen ones? Who were they? Because man didn't build them. It was impossible for them to build them. And such if man had built them, think how far advanced we would be right now.
We got to wrap it up soon, Anthony.
Okay? Yeah.
But so who do you think put all the hieroglyphics in the pyramids?
I believe that was the Egyptians themselves. I believe that they inherited the pyramids. I believe that those people found the pyramids, utilized the pyramids, but they did not build them. I mean, if you talk to some of the world archaeologists today, they're all going to say the same thing. Man simply did not have the technology to do that back then. If they had it back then, see how far advanced we would be today.
All right, so we only have a few minutes left. Anthony, reintroduce yourself. Let these people know how to get in touch with you if they'd like to.
You can email me at amwpaints, Paints, 26 at yahoo.com. I'd like to continue this sometime with you, Dave, sometime down the line, because it's...
This stuff really interests me. Very interesting.
This book right here...
And enlightening.
It's on... And everything in this book, the Book of Enoch, they don't deny it was in the Bible, and they don't deny they took it out. But why?
Well, for the same reason that whoever said they don't want people to go hysterical by, seeing these massive skeleton forms.
So interesting. I mean, it really is. We could talk about Roswell. I'm going to try and get some information on Roswell.
We only got a couple of minutes anyway. Oh, just so you know, here's the plan for guests. I'm going to see if I can do this, Anthony. You can let me know what you think. I'm going to email every candidate running for the midterms in New Hampshire, and I'm going to invite them on. If they respond, they'll be welcome to come on. We'll see what happens. I'm even going to invite, we'll say like Hassan, Pappas. We'll see what happens. Anyway, again, David B., that's me. The Readings Guy, Biffid at yahoo.com, 603-404-9338. Questions, comments, opinions, whatever, send them on. I'd be glad to hear it. Any kind of feedback, good or bad. Thank you. And remember, you are a winner.